Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Yathagnirdahika shaktihi Ramakrishne stita hiya Sarva vidya swarupam tam Sharadam pranamamyaham. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Namaste to you all. Rainy season, we don't have electricity from long time. We did not have internet. Now they have switched on the generator and on it is working. We have to manage for some time. Anyway, we'll go to the subject. From the beginning, almost more than a year we have finished now. We have been viewing the whole of the human existence. What is civilization? What is culture? All these aspects of human existence we discussed. Then we wanted to just have a look at the whole history. But we have the partial history of the world pertaining to Western alone because especially the Indian continent has been a self-contained, a closed structure where it is not exposed to the world but anyway, whatever is there in the history of the Western researchers, we have gone through the prehistoric stage before that is until the language came into existence. We have gone through the Stone Age, the Paleolithic stage. It begins from 3.4 million years before until the language came into existence, the Stone Age. From that first phase we saw Paleolithic age of 2.5 million years to 11,000 BC. Then Mesolithic period we saw 10,000 years BC to 8,000. Then Neolithic age we saw 8,000 to 4,000. These were the 4,000 BC, just behind us. And then we went into the Metal Age, Copper Age, 3,300 BC to 2,300 BC, Bronze Age, 2,300 to 1,200 BC, then Iron Age from 1,200 BC to 500 BC. Then we came to after the language and writing has begun, to the modern times. The phase of antiquity, classical antiquity we saw in the beginning, 8th century to 5th century almost. That was when the Greece and Rome flourished in its highest phase, but no records have been there, so it is considered as antiquity, but classical antiquity. And from more ancient times, from the history has been written and we have the positive records, we go to the ancient times of 600 BC to 476 BC. This 476 we saw has been selected because of the Roman Empire falling away. Means you can imagine the philosophy, the politics and all that, how far they had developed in those days. Then we come to the Middle Age, 476 to 1450 BC, 1450 BC. That is considered as the dark age, that also we saw how the dark age was there, and with the Italian Renaissance we saw the whole world getting transformed, the early modern era beginning from 1450 to 1759. And then we see modern times from 1759 to the present times. The whole picture of this one we have seen, and now just how the early modern era began, ending of the dark stage we saw of the world. We will just go through the process, how the world got transformed from the dark ages where the Roman Empire has lost and all confusion is there, everywhere chaos, and all that we saw, crusades, this, that, and all. In as much as possible, as much as we need, we have gone through, because our main aim is spiritual evolution. When we say knowledge and learnings are different. Learning is where we get information of the things. When it is associated with moral responsibilities, we call it education. So education is different from learning. Education. So we see how this transformation came over the man's consciousness in the most important change, the Middle Ages ending and the early modern era beginning is the Italian Renaissance, which pertains to 15th and 16th century period and it is called as the initial development of border Renaissance. It is border between the Dark Ages and how that transformed it pervaded the whole of Europe, and it is a transition period of the Middle Ages into beginning of the new modern age. The early modern age also is very important period. Extremely modern age is computer times, but still even in 1700, 1800, Sri Ramakrishna came in the 1800. So even earlier you see, we have missed somewhere the Buddhism. Buddhas we take about 600 BC. By that, how much of wisdom and knowledge has flourished from Vedic times, the unimaginable dimension we have passed through. But the records are not there, and slowly we have to build it up, how the knowledge, spiritual knowledge came into existence. So Italy happened to be the birthplace of Renaissance because it fostered three important advantages. One is thriving cities. So all cities, people join together and everything is thriving there. How the transformation began in the amidst the dark period, everywhere chaos is going on. Here thriving cities and wealthy merchants. Merchants had sufficient wealth to sustain all the difficulties of life. And then classical heritage, third point is classical heritage of Greece and Rome. The Greece and Rome had developed the philosophy to the highest level. And that tradition, what is man, what is his responsibilities, all this, though Indian philosophy exclusively considers realization of God and transcendence of nature, the Western philosophy ends with the moral perfections of human. So, but it has its own place in the human existence, and how beautiful things if there is time for us to go through, these are all worthy Just having a glance, the Western philosophies, though it is not truly spiritual, religion also has been given a place, but it is in a different way. It is in relative existence. We enter into the transcendental existence beyond the creation, where other religions have not gone. From there, the spirituality comes into picture. Divinity and spirituality for us is eternal, unchanging, and without relativity. Time space is not, it is not limited with time and space. But moral responsibilities change from place to place, nation to nation. So, time to time. Those things are changeable. We differentiate between Shruti and Smriti, laws of the society and eternal principles governing the human life. This we differentiate. And then it was the period of European culture. Cultural, artistic, political, economical rebirth is taking place in the Europe. Whole changes are taking place. It is the it is shining everywhere, the changes that are coming over. This is just following the Middle Ages and beginning of the modern, we can say. It was new modern way of thinking about world and man's place in it. We have an understanding from ancient times till this period, modernity, how the traditional way of living is the Bible and all those things as the basis, scriptures as the basis. You have to live like this, live like this, live like this. But a modernity, a change in the whole, as if the plate is changed together. How did this happen? What made it? They gave importance not for the scriptures or the social conditions or anything. The world as it is, the understanding of this world and man's place in it. What is his man's place? Actually, we fail to see where is my position in this universe? Where am I placed? What is my responsibilities? How am I to go? What is the purpose? That we are missing. We know our place in the family. We know the place in society. We don't know the place in nature. We don't know the place in cosmic existence and beyond. How did I come into existence? What am I? Now, the first time the Western concept is changing from classical way of living to modern. The world. Look at the world. Look at nature. It was looking down into the small family structures, social structures, and all this. My country, your country, quarrels, this, that, so many things are happening. But world as a whole, the vast understanding of world and man's place was not identified. Here we see the changes. Now we shall just go through, the time is short, the various values that was upheld during this period of transition. The values that made the Renaissance possible. So they are like flowers giving fruit. Now we find 7 values that has been adopted. When we analyze and see, that was not planned, but when we analyze the history and see how this happened, we see 7 values that has been honored, held up in the society. They are like 7 flowers giving beautiful, sweet fruits to the society of those days. Now, the first one is humanism. Humanism. Most important characteristic value. it bears three important elements. One is belief in man as the proper focus of study. Man was never studied. So man as the proper focus of study, his life, his philosophy, his art, his way of living, his developments, all this come under this. He is the focus of study. Then the second thing is revival of classical learning of Greek and Roman, which had climbed to the highest altitudes. That has fallen down now. It is like with the fall of empire, as if the whole thing has crashed down. Now they want to revive all these things. Revival of classical learning of Greeks and Romans. Now third point is concrete work on the reviving classical language. Language always goes with, see, even in India, if we, after the English came into picture, look at the changes we have undergone. And imagine a place where the mother tongue is forgotten, the culture completely gets erased there. The language comes always with the culture. Culture is what gives us happiness and freedom. Civilization is what makes me live in this world utilizing the resources of nature. There is great difference between culture. This culture falls off with language. The new language comes, it comes with a new culture. So they wanted to preserve this culture. So concrete work on revival of the classical language and text and new editions, whatever you can do, form in that same style and same way, increase the literature. So these three, the ideation behind this humanism was the God has created man and has bestowed upon him a spark of divinity. And with that, he has to live with the divinity as the man's divinity. But man's divinity is not seen in him as the inner divinity, but a spark of divinity has divine has entered into man, with which he can do great things in the world. What are the great things? He can make artistic things. He can make so many varieties of food, this, that, and all, living here comfortably. That kind of, the not subjective, but objective way of looking at it, looking at the divinity of God present in man. So this is about the humanism. The humanism is an important part we play because of the transformations it is undergoing, the human society is undergoing. So the second thing we come across as individualism. Individual, I am an individual, individualism. Man always in those days, man's identity, what am I? What is my identity? Identity was what his group is, what his clan is, what his race is. The group used to give the identity of man. The individual was not considered at all. This Renaissance brought a new understanding. The individual has to be given importance. And it is awakening the new things. The individual is afraid to express his ideas and publicly tell anything because he will be outcast from the group. Anything new I cannot tell in the society in those days. But the Renaissance brought a new change. Yes, come out with your own ideas. present it to the world. And this became to be different was something condemnation. But now to be different became a pride. I am an individual. I can present my ideas and thoughts. So that change of individualism came into existence. And each individual who presents himself independent of the crowd had got a position and status in the society. Oh, he's something giving, something new, something changing. Till then, it was suppressed. No, live as others live. Be a Roman in Rome. So that was the trend change. Though in this, all the other elements are present, but it's a new way of change of consciousness. Oh, I have some place to play. I have some part to play in this world. I have part to play amidst this society. Yeah. So this new, the third value that we are seeing is secularism. Secularism. It's secular, and it's something that is the focus of medieval people were attainment of salvation. And salvation is always after death. This Renaissance brought a new understanding. No, why wait for the next birth? Enjoy here, whatever nature is giving, enjoy. Don't worry about the future. When nature has provided, God has given you all these things to enjoy. You are waiting for next birth. Who knows what is there preserved in the future? So everything is present. And it shifted the whole attention of people. Why next life? Though religion was given a place, that was not all. The seed of future materialism, which we are experiencing now, lack of spirituality, the seed of it was there in that. Religion was given a place, but the whole thing was be happy here now. That's all the whole thing. Shifted the attention, present from future to present and now. The fourth value that we see is materialism. In materialism, spiritual, anything decision is taken on the scriptural injunctions. Scriptural injunction is taken as the final authority regarding, and the church was on the insisting against the accumulation of wealth and goods, and considered aggrandization of body as sin of pride. You cannot hoard anything. You cannot keep more than what is your need. You should not keep. It will corrupt you. Your spirit gets corrupted by these things, and is detrimental to salvation. It is vanity. It is meaningless. All this was there. Now the Renaissance brought a new understanding. They said, why should you worry? There is no reason why materialism must, the wealth and property and beautifying the body and aggrandizing the body, why should it stand an obstacle at all for heaven, reaching heaven? It is not a problem. So the man-made creations are gift of God. So the creativity, the jewelry, the fine garments to wear, the cosmetics to put on, these are all man's creations, and these creations are God's gift to us. So the materialism came into, this was the fourth transformation that we undergo, the period people of those days underwent. And then we see the fifth, civic humanism. Civic humanism is your devotion to the country. It is immaterial who is ruling the country, whether it is a tyranny or it is some fine small group governing the whole country. It doesn't matter. It is fine selected government, doesn't matter. Even if tyrannizing people are there governing it, have your devotion to nation. Because the whole thing, whatever you need, is knowingly or unknowingly are safeguarded by the nation. Whoever rules it, he knows that he has responsibility to discharge. So you do your contribution to the country. Be devoted, be a patriot, sacrifice. The individual prosperity convert into the national prosperity. Think of others with you. This expansion was given. And then sacrifice, for it is your duty. It is having born as a human, living in a country, you must be devoted to that country where you are living. So this was civic humanism that was brought into picture. Then the appreciation of nature, naturalism. Naturalism came into existence. People were afraid of nature. To go into nature, what will happen? A kind of unknown fear. Now that fear, Renaissance brought a new understanding. Nature is ours, we belong to nature. Enjoy nature. The Europeans immediately started moving here, there into the world to see the ocean, to see the hills, to see the plains, to see the forest. People started moving about. How the nature was frightening. And now the nature became their friend. And they started enjoying the nature. This is appreciation of nature, converted from fear to love of nature, fear of nature to love of nature. Finally, the seventh value that we find in the Renaissance is the universal man. How the modern man lives now, with dignity, live with dignity, with status, with decency, with talents, with education. All this you acquire. Live with lifted head, move about freely in this world. Have the knowledge, true knowledge of things. Then have your own fine house, bungalow, build yourself. And then even sword fighting, anytime, even that is a part of your life to safeguard your own interests. So all this, it is called virtue, human virtue. Be an universal man. So the whole thing, these 7 points, humanism, individualism, secularism, materialism, civic human, appreciation of nature, and virtuous man. So all this made the whole European, this one, into modern man. From ancient times, the ancient time was slowly, it was classical antiquity. Classical antiquity was maintained, and suddenly it changed into modernism, the modern era. The Renaissance is the 14th, 15th century, 15th, 16th century. From then onwards, we have and how it connected the whole world. People started moving out from one place to other. Goods started moving. The railways came into. So many changes we see coming over. The whole world, west and east, whole part was bound together. For the first time it opened its gates to each other. People could freely move about from country to country. Goods could be transferred because steam engine came into existence. Ships and all came into movements, and whole thing, modernity entered. Now we see the modernity has become a burden for us because the cycle continues. So this is about the today's class, and with this we'll end. We'll see what we can enter into the next, because we have completed the whole historical aspect of modern historians. We have to enter into the eternal wisdom. Of course, we have dealt many things in between, but we will go into the realities little hereafter. With this, today's class will end. Any questions are there?
Thank you, Maharaj. We don't have any questions, Maharaj. If you kindly conclude this session, Maharaj.
Yes. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhritavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha.